Good evening. Tonight is September 11th, and we are here for a Council Rock Finance Committee meeting. We will start with a roll call. My name is Tracy Oseki, and we'll start with a roll call to my left, please.
Andrea Mangle, District Communications.
Tony Rapp, Director of Business Administration.
Andy Senko, Superintendent.
Al Oberman, Director of Special Services.
Joe Terrari, Director of Education, Information and Systems Technology.
Joe Hidalgo, School Board.
Michael Roosevelt, School Board.
Ann Horner, School Board.
Linda Stone, School Board.
Nicole Khan, School Board.
Bob Hickey, School Board.
Matthew McCarthy, Tech Integration.
Jota Pali, School Board.
Okay, and I know we have some special guests here tonight, so we'll get started.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Oseki.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. Just because today is September 11th, I'm wondering if we could start with the finance.
That's exactly what Tony's going to ask you for.
Outstanding.
So before we start tonight's presentations,
That wasn't helpful.
Stop it, Matthew. Thank you.
thank you, Bob. Before we start tonight's presentation, please join me in a moment of silence in remembrance of the events of September 11th, 2001. Thank you. Before we just have a reminder that for the most accurate and reliable information concerning our district, please refer to resources, websites, and social media platforms managed by the Council Rock School District. We advise the community to exercise caution when relying on the accuracy of social media and ask the community to verify any social media content with the district for accuracy. If you question what you are seeing, need a fact check, or additional details on a matter, please reach out to the district directly. Our contact information is readily available on our website at www.crsd.org. Thank you. So tonight, the agenda for the Finance Committee is the 23-24 financial statement presentation, a presentation from Magic School for their AI product, consider a consulting contract with Tradeway for sensory rooms in the district, and to renew our contract with Brett Denovi and Associates. So the first item on the agenda is a presentation from Bob Kaufman, who's with us tonight. Welcome, Bob. He's going to talk about our 23-24 financial statement. He's a certified public accountant from Clifton Larson Allen, LLP, and they are new auditors. And I'd like to welcome Bob.
As Tony had mentioned, my name is Bob Kaufman. I'm a manager with Clifton Larson Allen, also known as CLA. I'm here to present, the 2024 audit and financial results. I've been told that having audit jargon and numbers spoken to is not the most exciting thing, so if you have any questions, please interject. So it's a two-way communication that will kind of help you through the here's the table of contents for the presentation. We're going to go over the executive summary, your district's financial highlights, and then there's some appendix data that we're going to skim through pretty quickly because we hit some key levels of our communication that was given a letter at the end of the executive summary of the results of professional services. Audit adjustments. There were no material misstatements, so there was no audit adjustments, and there were no uncorrected misstatements for the audit. So Tony and his team did a great job for the audit preparation, with the schedule preparation, reviewing the financials, and there was no items that needed to be noted and communicated to the board with the financials. There was a new accounting standard, GASB 100, for correction of errors. It was implemented but had no impact on the statements this year because there were no errors to correct. Upcoming, there's two new GASB statements. 101 is related to compensated absences. It's likely to have a large impact on the district. So we'll probably be talking about that a little bit more in the next presentation. And then GASB 102, which is for risk disclosures. It's not likely to have an impact on the district unless you guys get into like an interest rate swap or anything like that in the future. Given the interest rates, I don't think that would happen, but it's a possibility, so I need to let you guys know. Our opinions, you guys, in opinion, it's been based on the no audit adjustments and no error corrections on the financial data and on the single audit. We reviewed ESSER as our major program this year, so we did not find any issues over internal controls related to the financial statement, ESSER, or the financial data itself. Related to your district, some high-level results, because the data is a little old. General fund financial results, we did approximately $5.5 million better than budget. General fund balance includes unassigned amounts of approximately $20 million, about 7%, which is under the 8% maximum for raising taxes and getting exceptions. The general fund balance has been trending positively since 2022 when there was a major transfer into the capital projects fund to fund the 5-year facilities plan, or capital improvement plan, excuse me. And then capital projects has approximately $52 million to complete current and future projects. So the next couple slides are kind of giving a visual of those highlights. As you can see, here's the budget versus actual variances. Revenues exceeded budget largely due to better than anticipated economy, higher interest rates, better collections on EIT, and the district's use of a third-party collection or a third-party company to collect those EIT had a little bit better collection rate than anticipated. Other financing sources exceeded budget due to the excess budget transfers to the capital projects fund to fund future capital plans. General fund balance is just kind of a breakdown that you can see on the governmental balance sheet. I noted earlier the unassigned fund balance. That's kind of the big figure that the state looks at to determine if you have too much unassigned or committed funds around basically collecting too much money without planning. So you guys are in that perfect position where the state is comfortable with that figure. There's the trend that I mentioned. As you can see here in 2021, we were trending up, and the 2022 figure where the fund balance dropped. That was a planned drop from a capital projects transfer, and as you can see, trending up again. You have about, like I said, $30 million in total in fund balance, which is about a month and a half of expenditures. GFOA, a national company, or national oversight board that oversees the CAFR, recommends about 2 months. So you guys are right, kind of on par with that. Given your tax collection, you're kind of likely in a good position with that figure. So there's no real risk to that, even though you don't meet that recommendation. Capital projects, year end, as I mentioned, $32 million pending fund balance. Other financing sources include a bond issue and that $5.5 million excess transfer to fund future projects. So perfect, I believe we have the 2 renovation projects coming up in the 26-27 school year that I saw on the website that are going out to bid. So that puts you in a perfect position for that activity. Excuse me, I'm not going really fast.
I had a question. I
Sure.
Thank you. So you said the range to be approved at the state was the fund balance. What would that range be? And where do we fall within the range?
The range, they do not want you to exceed 8% in order to apply for exceptions for millage increases. You can exceed it, but I don't know if you saw one of the state audit reports that came out a couple of years ago that was looking at districts' unassigned fund balances. And they were too high to plan based on unassigned.
Okay. So 8%, under 8%.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not like a hard rule, but it's kind of like a general comment.
Thanks.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Bob, thanks for being here, and it's a solid report, everything we know about it. My question's more of one procedurally. I can only speak for myself, but there's been a lot of angst based on the timing of getting this information. Can you talk about that and what we can look forward to in the future?
Sure. So there was a lot of transitions from BBD. They were merged into Witham in order to, I believe, I wasn't with BBD at the time, so I believe it was for administrative efficiencies. And what Witham did not have was a governmental practice. So they realized kind of as a result of this activity and the timeliness of the way audits were getting out that, they couldn't really sustain a governmental practice, which is why they sold us to CLA, Clifton Larson Allen, who is the nation's largest governmental auditors in the nation. So they are very capable of supporting that, these audits and providing us with additional staff if needed and support and reviews and getting the audits out the door more efficiently. So what they're helping us do is to provide more structure, getting us into schedules, and then really pushing and driving the teams and monitoring hours to make sure that they're putting in the extra work when needed to get things done in a timely fashion.
So what's the plan for the upcoming year? When should we expect you to be in here auditing us and working with Tony's office?
So I just spoke with Tony right before the meeting, and the plan is to get in here this month. The field work takes about 2 weeks. After that, it takes 2 weeks to review detail level, and then another 2 weeks for the partner review, and then another 2 weeks for the quality control review. So when you put that all together, it's about 8 weeks from the time that we start is the ideal flow of an audit. So that would be the target and goal. And if for any reason that what's not going to happen, it would be openly communicated effectively along the way so that it wouldn't be a surprise or anything like that. However, I don't anticipate that happening. Just want to put it out there so it's not. I feel like last year there was a lot of being left in the dark as to the timing and what was happening and things like that, which was 100% on our side. Like I said, Tony and the team did a great job for the preparation and getting the audit over the finish line.
Thank you.
So you can say about 8 weeks, we're talking November, December. That we'll have it completed and that they will be able to start
I'm sorry?
about November, December?
They're starting later on this month.
Right.
Yeah.
And then completion will take 8 weeks.
I would say just to be on the safe side that December is probably the more accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, given the holiday, I don't know where
period.
it falls exactly, but
Yeah.
sounds more.
I mean,
December,
you
January.
know, when you look at government audits of school districts, January or February is generally pretty early, so.
Right.
So we're on, with their new owner and,
We'll take early.
We'll take early.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we'll take
I'm
early, but
saying,
I'm
I think
saying,
we're
as
gonna
long as we
much-
have a time frame versus what occurred last year, so that we're not chasing, going, hey,
Right.
we need to do our budget, we need our audit done.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that,
Absolutely, and the good news is, as I had mentioned, because CLA is familiar with this work, due to the timing of the acquisition, they didn't get scheduled into our jobs, but come 11/15, they're starting to free up and have available resources to bring us from Baltimore in the event we fall behind, or we just want to get ahead. So that would be an additional help this year. But the key will be the communication as the audit progresses, and kind of just giving an email report or a call saying like, hey, we're right on time, or hey, this happened, and because of this entry, we need to do some additional testing because the standards changed in the single audit compliance supplement. So for this year, the federal government has not put out the compliance supplement, which is what we use to audit the federal programs yet. We have a draft, but if they change something substantially, we're going to have to come out and do additional testing. So that's like a curveball that could come. But we would get that final version. If we saw something, we would communicate that ahead of time.
great, thank you.
The rest of the information here is in the appendix. It's kind of all the boring audit jargon. I don't know if anybody would like to hear it. But if you'd like to review it for your reading pleasure at a later date, it's also in the communication that comes with the audit report for the board. But it's a lot of information in there if you want some light reading. Any other questions?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
See you soon. So the next item on our agenda is a presentation from Magic School of their AI.
Yeah, so I'll introduce, so Magic
Andrea.
School AI, for those of you who have received, I think all the board members received the AI guidelines already, so you've seen that. And in those AI guidelines, if you've read them closely, we have decided on one platform that we are going to recommend for teachers to use because we vetted it very closely. The tech integration specialists have done a fantastic job. Actually, they've taken their time with it. It's been more than a year, I would say going on 2 years, where they were able to pilot this program in our schools at no cost to our school district. So currently, we are still operating, and we have Haley Grossman with us tonight, but she's going to share the numbers and be able to show us exactly what teachers are using it for and how many in the district are using it. Like I said, we have not paid for it so far. They've been very gracious in extending our free pilot because our teachers really like it. And in the administrative level, we are satisfied that it meets very stringent student data policy, the privacy agreements that probably are more important than any aspect of it. So if they this ties into the AI guidelines because again, like I said, we had to give teachers a tool. We were very clear on the guidelines. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. You can't do that without giving staff a tool to use it. So with your approval, we'll be using and expanding our use of Magic School AI in the elementary and secondary schools. So on the bottom there, you could barely see it, but I know it's in Haley's slides as well. Like I said, on the bullets, it's got the highest data protection and privacy standards. There's a broad range, hundreds of different things that teachers can do with it. It's good for K-12 and it integrates with Canvas and Google Classroom. Again, we piloted it last year, and we have currently 527 Council Rock teachers. And you can see on the far left, that is the instructional materials. That's basically most of what they're using it for. But again, Haley will go over this. And Haley has a wealth of knowledge on it, and she is with us tonight. She's joining us via Zoom. Okay. Hey, Haley.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you so much, Haley.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much for having me this evening. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can kind of learn and review the data together. As Andrea shared, my name is Haley Grossman. I'm an account executive here at Magic School. I'm based over in Pittsburgh and support all of our Pennsylvania schools and districts, but was a teacher for many, many years before joining the team here. So it has been just such a pleasure to work with the Council Rock administrators and the tech integrators and supporting you all throughout the pilot. Quick agenda for us today, going to start off walking through the usage and the growth that we've seen throughout the pilot. I'm going to talk a bit about the platform itself so that we all are working from a shared understanding and you have kind of like that 10,000-foot view of how the platform is built, how it functions, so you know what teachers are utilizing. Talk a little bit about the platform's alignment to the AI guidelines that the ROC AI committee pulled together, and then also have an opportunity for questions, which I imagine folks will have. So let's go ahead and jump in. So as Andrea shared, there has been really incredible usage across the district throughout the course of the pilot. I've been working with the team, goodness, I think since December of last year. And, when we started working together, there was not much usage or it was very scattered. And it has been really impressive to see that consistency begin to form throughout the course of the pilot and giving folks kind of a sanctioned platform to go to and aligning usage across the district. So we have at least 527 educators across the district utilizing Magic School, and they've created more than 12,000 resources, which is really an incredible, impressive number. And you can see some of their top tools, the specific tools here that they're utilizing. And from that, you can also see the variety in what they're using. So whether that is to provide feedback or create resources or support communication with families or colleagues, it really just speaks to the breadth of the platform and the value that folks are finding across the board. This image, I believe, was also in Andrea's slide. Hopefully you all can see it a little bit better here because it's blown up a bit more. But you can see, instructional materials is definitely what the bulk of users are utilizing. And with that, there's still usage across a variety of categories, which is exciting to see. The usage isn't necessarily being skewed in one direction or another. And I think it really speaks to the fact that there is something in the platform for everyone, whether you're, teaching first graders or AP biology, or you're a front office administrator. There's something to support everyone's work. Beyond that, it is exciting to see that the spread of users across grade bands isn't necessarily skewed in one direction. This number won't add up to the full 527. I do want to name that. Folks self-select their grade band when they set up their account, and it's possible that some didn't select a grade band or maybe don't support a specific grade level or work across various grade bands. But with the data that we do have, it is exciting to see that spread and that consistency, and I think it really speaks to the fact that this is something that can be utilized K-12 and is accessible regardless of what role you're in. And what I do want to highlight is just the impressive amount of growth that we saw over the course, particularly in the spring of last year, a 400% increase in usage over the course of the pilot. And that, I think, really gives us a preview of where the district is headed in terms of streamlining and increasing consistency and fidelity when it comes to AI implementation. Hopping into how the platform itself is actually built and moving away from usage. Again, I want to make sure that we're all working from a shared level of understanding here for what Magic School actually is and how it's built. So at our core, we are an AI platform that is built for use in schools and districts. What that means is everything within our platform, while we leverage the power of AI, it is through an educational lens. So starting kind of at this base level, we have over 80 tools for educators and over 50 tools specifically designed for students. And what that means is there's additional safeguards and security measures to support responsible student usage. And all of those tools are powered by other large language models. This allows our engineers to be really flexible in leveraging the technology that is going to be most appropriate for the educational setting. Although we use other large language models to power our tools, none of the information put into Magic School is ever used to train large language models. So I know a big conversation in the world of AI is around training large language models. Anything that a teacher or a student or any user puts into the platform stays within Magic School. It does not go back out to those large language models, and it is not used to train any AI. I know that is a question that typically comes up when folks are thinking about AI use in schools and districts. From there, as our engineers continue to build out the tools, we load in additional safety and security measures to ensure we are fully compliant with all state and federal regulations for data security and privacy, so fully FERPA compliant, COPPA compliant as well. And then when it comes to PII, or personally identifiable information, but probably more likely when a teacher or student puts in PII into the platform, it is removed from the platform. It does not stay within. We scrub it out. It is best practice and as part of being AI literate not to input PII into the platform. However, we know it happens, and so we have those additional safeguards on the back end to ensure that it is not remaining in the platform or living there. From there, as the engineers build out the tools, they load in additional prompting around educational best practices and standards alignment to ensure that regardless of someone's level of AI expertise, the output that they get is going to be aligned to those instructional best practices and aligned to those educational use cases without them having to be an expert AI prompter. They can really focus on the knowledge they have about their students and their expertise in their content. The final layer is really bringing everything together into a platform that is really accessible and easy to use for any educator, and that is intended to lower the barrier to entry to support consistent and expansive implementation across the district. For our district partners, there are capabilities to further customize the platform to align to your policies, your instructional frameworks, your curriculum, your broader goals for your comprehensive plan. And so that's where districts can really, take what we've provided them and tailor it to their specific needs and their specific vision for how AI is going to be utilized across their district. Just to provide you a bit of a visual for how the tools work, as I mentioned, we use a variety of large language models to power our tools. And with that, we pair this education-focused guidance, and our engineers build out high-quality examples to inform the tools, again, so that they're working through that educational lens. And then we take the context that either the district or the individual educator puts into the platform around their curriculum, the students that they're supporting, and then from there, we're able to provide the best possible output. One of the benefits here is that our engineers are able to evaluate multiple different large language models for elements like bias, accuracy of information, how well the tool follows directions to ensure that fidelity when it comes to implementation of these tools, and that educators truly are getting the best possible output. When we think about the district's AI guidelines, Magic School aligns perfectly with many of the core principles outlined in the Council Rock guidelines. First and foremost, thinking about what role does AI play in schools and districts? It can be an incredibly powerful tool to support teacher workflows, to help teachers with implementing best practices in their classrooms, and to drive student achievement. And with that being said, we do not see AI as a replacement for the parts of teaching that are uniquely human, building relationships with students, getting to know them, differentiating for them, on an individual level. And the intention is never for the use of AI to replace those human components of learning, but rather to support teachers' work so that they can focus on those human components. Additionally, the piece around how we can use AI to enhance our practices, enhance student learning, enhance instruction. The tools are really designed to do exactly that and to align with educator practice. And then when it comes to student AI use, I think a common theme throughout the guidelines was around explicit guidance, right? Being really clear with students what it means to use AI in their work, when they can use it, and ensuring that the use of that is tied to a learning objective, like it is intentional use, and that is how all of our student tools are designed and intended to be used. And of course, that safety and data privacy piece is consistent throughout the platform as well, but especially prioritized for students. And so when we think about, an enterprise partnership with districts and really looking at how we can support these guidelines and the overall goals of the district when it comes to AI implementation, we're talking about, taking what maybe once a year ago or 2 years ago was scattered AI use across the district, a variety of platforms with varying levels of security and pedagogical soundness, and bringing folks into a sanctioned platform that is safe to use, is instructionally sound, and is ultimately going to align to the broader comprehensive goals and work in service of those goals rather than potentially counteract them. And so really allowing the district to customize and tailor this implementation to support these broader priorities. And finally, just kind of closing out when we think about student use, it starts with teacher use and helping teachers to feel comfortable using in their own practice. But I know ultimately the goal is to ensure that, students are using AI thoughtfully and prepared for a world post K-12 education where they have those AI literacy skills. And our tools are built in a way that are going to help support students with building that AI literacy. And it gives teachers in the district, the capacity to monitor that usage and ensure they have insight into how students are using it so that we can ensure that alignment to the expectations and the guidelines you set. And ultimately thinking about how we can utilize AI to support student learning, right, as a tool to drive student outcomes, whether that is supporting diverse learners or driving achievement and supporting student growth. So a lot of exciting opportunities here for how we can open this up to students in a safe way and ensure that we're building those AI literacy skills for them as well. With that, I would love to open it up to questions. I will name ahead of time that I did include my email address here because it is possible that after today you'll have questions that pop up in your mind, and I want you to be able to contact me if you so desire. So in the spirit of partnership and transparency, please feel free to jot down or take a picture of my email address if you're like, I see myself having a question come up down the line. I'm more than happy to connect then. But we can take questions now as well that folks might have.
Okay, thanks. I think we all probably have a lot of questions, so I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Ms. Horner.
Thank you. Is there a guideline that when they begin the Magic School from the teachers and with the students that they have to sign off on, or their norm or something to say, hey, these are the usages, this is the norms, this is, what's critical to use?
Yeah, I can share what districts have done and kind of what we advise. Ultimately, we leave, the district's expectations for student use up to the district. So we have districts who use this K-12 with students. We have some who only use it in secondary. We have some who turn the student side off altogether, which at the district level, you do have the capacity to do. It is safe for use fully K-12 because of those additional safeguards. We have resources that we can share that a district can use, whether it's sending a letter home to families to say, hey, this is what we're using, this is how it functions, here's who you can reach out to for questions, and if you want them to sign off on it, they can. We also built into the student platform, we have like AI literacy guidelines that are built in that when students log in every time, they pop up and they have to accept them. And we actually recommend that when educators start to roll this out with students, they do some explicit instruction around those guidelines and what it means to use AI as a tool for learning. We do have resources to support with that, but ultimately it's not like a requirement to use our platform. And we recognize that many districts like to take students through, some sort of training or AI literacy lesson or unit before students actually jump into the platform.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Ms. Khan.
Thank you. Just for everyone's, I guess, refresher, I know we've talked about the AI guidelines that Ms. Mangold has been working on for the past year with MIT. I know maybe the board has been apprised of some of the updates, but I just wanted to maybe connect how Magic School, and I know Haley's been talking about the Council Rock AI guidelines and how the two kind of came together, and how for the parents that are listening to this at home for the first time really aren't thinking, gosh, we don't know anything about this and we're just doing this fresh off. Right.
It may seem like that, but we're
Yes,
not.
but I know, right.
Initially, back in 2023, it kind of became obvious that in schools, AI is coming, it's here. And like Haley said, there were teachers using it for different things for their personal life, for their school life. They were uploading student names and here and there. And we really didn't know where we were as a district. So we convened a very large group of staff from across the board. And I think I referred to this before. We got together and bickered a lot. Everybody had a different view of what AI was, how it can be used. But one thing we agreed on, and I said that primarily, is that student data. I mean, there are federal laws protecting student data. And so that was our primary concern. What can we use that protects student data and keeps it protected? Mr. Roosevelt, I gotta say, I'm always thinking of you, where does that information live? And I posed that question to Haley yesterday, because we wanted to know, where is it going? And we also know the risks with using large language models. Who is taking your information and learning from it? So we struggled for about, I would say, the better part of a year and a half. I finally just sat down and I worked to put these guidelines together, and I incorporated everybody's ideas, and it kind of distilled into where we are going as a district, but I had to start somewhere, so I started with the teachers, because they're clearly the first way that a student would get access to AI. So how do we inform teachers what's safe, what's not safe, what to do, what not to do? So the guidelines that you're going to read now are pretty much directed at teachers. There are elements in there for parents so they understand, and there are elements in there for students. But basically what these guidelines are telling teachers, you must be an agent in this process. You cannot allow students to use AI without explicit instructions on how to use it. And in the guidelines, it actually gives them documents and colors and tabs and keys to show them, the teacher, even a new teacher new to using AI, this is what I need to do before I can use AI in my classroom. So then the next step was, okay, if we're giving them such a strict confine in which to work, we need to give them a tool. Now, simultaneously, the tech integrators were seeing some teachers asking for help with, say, ChatGPT in the classroom and they were timeout. That's not safe. So people weren't even aware of the safety issues with some of these LLMs that are out there that people use commonly. So the tech integration specialists, they got together and said, let's look at this Magic School AI and a couple others a little more closely. School AI is another one. And this is the one that rose above the others, just again, based on that privacy piece. Just protecting kids, their data, their information, where is it going when we're done using it, what happens when a child moves from one grade level to the next. So the two kind of came together. So when the guidelines were done, I had a blank everywhere. It said the tool to use is, and then talk with the tech integrators, and Magic School is what it was, and I thought, great, well then I need to understand exactly what Magic School is. So we went through the agreement, the addendums to the agreement, the sub-processors, some of the LLMs that it draws from, their information is in here as well. So I was confident enough to be able to endorse this and agree completely with the tech integration specialists because they did all of the legwork. They're the ones in the classroom. They're the ones that are seeing it be used. They see all the pitfalls and they see how it can definitely benefit teachers moving ahead. So where the guidelines are now, and the timing is kind of off a little bit, we have yet to present the guidelines to the board, which you may have had it as an attachment. I don't know that they've been explained to you fully. That's going to be next week in the education committee meeting. So you can understand exactly how the message to educators in this district and administrators, everyone actually, is to just be careful what you're using, put it through this process, run it through IT if you have a question, but if you're going to be using it with students, you want to use Magic School AI. So that's where we are with the guidelines. Thank you.
Next. Mr. Roosevelt.
Fine. I don't know where to look. I don't think there's a camera.
I can't see you.
Yeah. So in the presentation, she mentioned that there are multiple AI modules or LLMs. Is there a list, or
Yes.
is it easy to provide that list now or after the meeting? Because I'd like to know which LLMs are being used.
There is a list in the agreement, but Haley, we had an extensive conversation on this yesterday. One of my concerns with using an LLM, I said, so Haley, if a student is using it just to say to write a term paper on Moby Dick, and they are interacting with Magic School, and Magic School is drawing from an LLM, and Haley had the perfect analogy, the information only goes one way. So Magic School is drawing on the LLM, and the LLM is not getting anything in return. It is not getting any data from the student. It is not getting anything to train on. And Haley, you can expand on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, so as Andrea was saying, you can think of it like a one-way street. The LLM powers the tool, but in addition to that, as our engineers build out the tools, they're putting in prompts before it even gets to the teacher. So prompts around educational best practices, prompts that are going to help to mitigate potential bias, inaccuracy. I mean, if any of you have used ChatGPT or Gemini before, you've probably gotten some things that, some outputs that you've, been like, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. And so as our engineers build out the tools, we're starting with the LLM, but there's additional layers, like the Magic School layer is really what we call it, that make it suitable for the classroom so that the outputs that either students or staff are getting are going to be appropriate for use in the classroom. And then as the educator or the student has the conversation within the tool, we're continuing to power the tool using the LLM, but none of that information is going back to the large language model to further train it the way that it would if you were using something like ChatGPT.
I have a follow-up question and one others. So how is that tested to ensure that it is a one-way street?
How is that, what direction the data is going?
No, how is it tested that it only goes one way?
Yeah, so I will admit that my expertise does not lie in the technology area, but I know that we have agreements in place with all of the large language models that we utilize that prohibits it from utilizing or training their models based on the inputs. And I'd be happy to kind of pull together additional information on it. I just don't want to give you an answer that isn't 100% accurate because that's not where my level of expertise is.
Great, thank you. And my last question, the presentation mentioned AI literacy skills. I was interested in you expanding on that pertaining to what educational skills or benefits is this intended to provide to the students?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to AI literacy, this also connects back to, like, what are we having students or families sign off on when students are coming into the platform? As I mentioned, we have resources to explicitly support explicit instruction around AI literacy. So understanding, like, what is AI? How does it function? What are appropriate ways to utilize it to support my learning as a tool for learning, not as a shortcut for work. We actually have a student-facing certification course. We also have educator-facing certification courses. But when it comes to AI literacy for students, that certification course is a great way to lay that foundation of AI literacy before students even jump into the platform. And that's something that we have districts actually require students to take before they're even allowed to use Magic Student. And then the tools themselves are configured in a way that continues to support building AI literacy skills. So I'll give you an example. A very common use that students go to AI for, like a ChatGPT, for example, is to write their essays for them, right? That's kind of the stereotype. They'll put their prompt in, and then they'll say, make this sound more like a 7th grader so that they can submit it and they think they get it by their teacher. If a student goes to Magic School and tries to get one of our tools to do their work for them, so same idea, write my essay for me, here's the prompt, can you write my thesis statement, whatever that might be. The tool responds in a very specific way, and this is how it has been configured to respond. First, it will say, I cannot do that. That, violates academic integrity, and that wouldn't be supporting your learning. But here are ways that I can help you get started. I can help you to brainstorm ideas. I can give you a sentence frame for your thesis statement. I can help you narrow down which topic you want to focus on. It will actually give students a list of, directions they could go with the AI tool to support their learning. And so not only is that making sure that students are using it responsibly, because it's not giving that output of, the finished product. What I love as a former educator is it is also nudging them in the right direction, right? Students need to understand the appropriate way to use it. Otherwise, they are going to default to just having it do their work for them. And because our tools have those additional safeguards built on, it is always going to nudge students in that right direction so that they can learn, this is an appropriate way to use AI to support my work rather than just having it do my work for me. So that AI literacy piece is also built into the platform.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Good.
Actually, I have a follow-up question from Mr. Roosevelt regarding AI literacy, and then I know Haley talked about certification for students and teachers. I was actually, maybe this is a little bit geared toward Dr. Olbermann, that, I appreciate the district kind of leading the forefront, and I know I had a conversation with Dr. Sanko last year when my son was in 5th grade, that we as a district and as parents can't pretend AI doesn't exist, because I know within my son's class, there were students trying to get away with writing papers in 5th grade using ChatGPT. And I remember having this conversation with Dr. Sanko. So there's really no way about it, I guess. And I appreciate that we're kind of taking the lead and trying to be as safe for our students. But I was wondering with Dr. Olbermann, do you see use or benefit for the special education department, and how maybe we could also, embrace it for the teachers and provide the training that they need?
Sure, some teachers use it now. If we have students who, we're trying to include as many students as possible in the general ed classroom. So if we have students in biology class, for example, but maybe the student's not, having difficulty understanding the vocabulary or the textbook that's being used, teachers have been utilizing AI to kind of, can you present this information on, whatever the level the student might be at. Same thing with helping reword test banks or test questions for students that are more meet their needs at their level. So we're not necessarily changing the curriculum or changing what's being taught, just presenting it in a way that's more, allows the students to have access to it. So I know that's currently being used now. I think in terms of special ed, we're kind of just scratching the surface on what's available. So I'm always kind of on the lookout for other ways to kind of utilize that for teachers, but I think that's a big way of it's being used right now.
Thank you. So definitely could be something useful.
Correct.
Great. Thank you.
Others? I have some questions,
I
but.
have a question.
Ms. Bell?
So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna talk about that later, but I wonder if you wanna touch about the cost and the training for the teachers.
Tony can talk about the cost. I believe he was involved, and Joe were involved in negotiating that 3-year agreement that we talked about. In terms of training, one thing I think that it became very evident to me is that the adults need to be trained on the proper use of AI before they can even approach kids and kind of enforce rules when they don't understand them themselves. So we have to do some AI education just in a general sense, so that the adults understand the literacy before they can do it. But Haley, you do offer teacher training and professional development. We want all teachers to be trained in its use, and we understand that's going to have to roll out slowly. There are 500 teachers that are already using it. I know the tech integrators are ready, willing, and able to jump in for any teacher, a group, grade level teacher, a group of teachers, a cohort of teachers who want training, and they just do it right there on the spot. They actually walk with them through it. So the tech integrators are the district experts in this Magic School AI. So, but the cost.
So, we do want to make clear that this was added in the budget that was approved by the board. We did have the cost for this in the budget. So the first year with we worked very hard, and Joe's done a lot with Haley and working on trying to get us as good of a contract as we can. The cost for year one, which is a prorated contract, even though we have full access to it right now anyway, is $43,995 for year one. Year two is $60,690, which is actually close to the pricing, close to the pricing model. And year three is $63,630. $63,630. There is training that they're going to provide 1 4-hour session that everyone can attend in person. That is normally $4,000 for each session. They're giving that to us for free. Another section is they're providing 3 virtual 60-minute sessions. That's $500 per session. They're also giving that to us for free. So they're providing $5,500 worth of training for no cost. So, and again, we did budget for this in the budget, so this is not an unplanned expense.
Ms. Stone?
One question, is this being utilized K through 12?
Yes.
Was the pilots done
Yes.
through all grade levels?
Yes.
Okay, and she had that list
Yeah.
of teachers,
Do you
right?
have that slide that shows you middle school, high school?
At least in middle school, the smallest group.
Well, yeah, that,
Yeah.
it's reflected in these numbers.
My other question is how are parents integrated into this, or are they?
Well, I think, Maggie, I wouldn't know what that looks like on the parent end at
As in,
this point.
do parents have access to the platform? No, they do not. It's actually one of the reasons we picked Magic School was because of the safeguards it provides around students. We didn't want a platform that was accessible 100% of the time for the students. The student side of it is only turned on when the teacher turns it on. So it's not like another like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude. You can't just go right to it and start using it. The teacher has to turn on and set the parameters of what you can use.
It's in class, it's a classroom, utilized in the classroom.
The usage of it is almost onerously strict, but that's what we want it, because that's how dangerous AI can be if left with unfettered use. So it's locked down pretty well.
Thank you.
Mr. Hickey?
But just to follow up, so you're saying that this platform is not used when the students are outside of the classroom?
They can't be at home in their bedroom at night on a Sunday or Saturday night, can't get into it.
Unless the teacher has opened up.
Well,
Okay, so if they open up that window, then it's open, but.
Right, yeah.
But even still, it's not just like 100% open. There are the teacher employs the tools, and the tools kind of set the parameters of it, like a workshop writer or a historical character chatbot. It's not just an open-ended opportunity for the kids to do whatever they want in there. The parameters are set by the teacher with the tools that he needs to choose to employ.
Just as a usage guide, do you know like any other districts in either Bucks, Montgomery County, and our area that are currently using Magic Teacher?
I do have that list in my notes. I don't have that notebook with me today. I'm sure Haley can probably provide some. But that was also one of the things that we did as the tech integration specialist group is we started with a broad list of products and we started reaching out to other districts in the area to see what they were using. And Magic School was one of the ones that popped up frequently.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that presentation.
Thank you so much.
What other districts don't have are the guidelines that interact, that mesh with it. They don't, most districts don't have what we have yet. So not only do we have Magic School's prohibitions, but we've got our own. So we have to, again, educate our teachers on exactly what the expectations are, have parents and students understand what the expectations are, and the Magic School kind of fulfills that. If that makes sense.
I think it's important to note that we are, that's a very important point. We're far ahead of any other district that I'm aware of. Andrea has done a great job of being the one person and leading this knowing that this is something we needed to get in front of, and I think that this that our guidelines and this product are gonna help us maintain our keep things, for want of a better word, keep things as under control as they can be. I mean, obviously AI's out there, and there's other ways that students can access AI, but when it comes to what we're letting them use in schools, we're keeping control over that.
Yeah, as a follow-up, like you said, I want to thank you and your team for that presentation that you guys showed us last week or the week before we saw it. And, the part that I liked about it especially was you put responsibilities in there for people who are accountable for what happens or doesn't
The
happen.
racing matrix, yep.
So that's always nice to know, because if something goes right or wrong, you know how to, at least where to go to correct it or to improve it. And like you said, I know that's a living, breathing document that will change over the course of time. So between that presentation and this, for me anyway, because I don't really, I'm not really a big AI person and I don't know a whole lot about it. And so this is all pretty new to me.
Ms. Khan and then Stone.
Okay, I guess to kind of just sum it up, so if the board approves the Magic School program, I know, I was like Magic School Bus, I'm sorry. This would be the district approved, sanctioned by administration, monitored and led by teachers, because it's the safest program out there currently for use.
Another thing, Haley, can you talk about the ability for administration to view the usage? This is not just a closed-ended thing. Administration can watch on the dashboard and see who's using it, what they're using it for, and just be able to monitor our usage. So if we see, for instance, that, wow, most teachers are using it for this, or why aren't they using it for that? We'll be able to generate discussions around those things.
Yeah, so I can actually show you directly on my screen. This isn't Council Rock's data, this is sample data, but your dashboard looks very similar to this. So as Andrea mentioned, you're able to track overall usage, which teachers are using the platform, what tools they're using the most, which is also especially helpful for professional development. If you see everyone is using the lesson plan tool, maybe we want to do some targeted PD around how do we ensure that their use of the lesson plan tool is aligned with the vision for curriculum and instruction. Or if we see tools that aren't being used that maybe we were hoping educators would use, we do some targeted PD around those tools to ensure that they feel confident utilizing those. You're also able to track that same data for student use. So if and when Magic Student is rolled out, you can see which educators are using it with students, what rooms they've created, and what tools, again, are being utilized the most. So that'll give you kind of the broad overview of usage across the district. Beyond that, for student usage at the district level, you're also going to have full oversight of all of the student rooms. So any administrator who is designated as an org admin on the account is able to click in and see every single student's use. They're able to see anything that gets flagged so that they can review that. They're able to see, strong examples that they can elevate to support staff in seeing, what does it look like to effectively use this with students. At the administrative level, you also have full tool moderation. So, as those guidelines continue to evolve, if there are specific tools that you do not want educators utilizing with students ever, you have the ability to toggle those off directly so that they're not even able to be assigned to students. As was mentioned previously, students are only ever going to have access to the tools that their teachers assign. So there's no world where a student logs into Magic School and just gets to pick whatever tool they want and do whatever they want on it. It is fully controlled and moderated by the teacher. And then this level up is where administrators can moderate what tools teachers even have access to assign to their students.
Ms. Stone.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just
Go
didn't,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so thank you. The other part was, so therefore, on school district devices or school time or in the classroom, will students have access to any other platform for AI other than Magic School?
Tough to say.
I mean,
The problem-
generally.
Yeah, generally, no. Our filters have a lot of things turned off. We've narrowed down those filters at the tail end of last year to really shut those things down. One of our filtering tools, GoGuardian, does have an AI element to it, so we do have that turned on, so students should not be able to access other AI platforms. However, because AI is the flavor of the month, everything is injecting AI into it, so there may be new platforms that just pop up that may take a couple days, weeks, maybe a month or two for the filter to catch that and jump in. However, as a tech integration specialist group, we do have access to GoGuardian as administrators of the filter. So when teachers kind of alert us to something, or me as I'm in classrooms, I might see some kids on something, oh, it's really cool, show me that. I'm gonna go block it. So.
It's no different than when it was when we first got devices and kids were able to ping their way into YouTube and ping their way out of right around the school filters. And I remember, that's how I met Matt. I had a great student. He was good. And I said, would you show, this is my friend Matt, just show him how you do that. Matt copied it. I said, thank you. And then we shut him down.
He was good, I was better.
He was good.
Okay. And to tack on to that, that's why we have a layered approach as well. So there's the layer that Matt is talking about at the teacher level, and then at an infrastructure level, we're trying to back that up further by employing tools at the firewalls as well. Right? So the goal is do as much as we can. Can we prevent 100%? Yeah. But it's the best effort. With all the tools that we have at our disposal, how much can we block, right? And most of these tools are very intelligent at this point, and they're also learning, and they get better, and they get more robust, and they get quicker at learning that, oh, this tool, as Matt was just talking about, this tool popped up over here, how quickly can we react to it and figure out if we need to shut it down.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, no system is going to be 100% proof, and I just know that having an elementary school student, I'm sure as Ms. Oseki knows, we're as parents new to this, and we're embracing it and trying to do it in the safest manner possible, and I just want, parents to not panic when they see this and try to be as, understanding, and we're working through it, and we're trying to be as safe as possible. Thank you.
Ms. Stone now. Sorry about that.
So a couple of things so you were answering that you can assess the usage, so you can produce these reports. So I was wondering who will be monitoring the reports, actually looking at them, and then how do we react to what they see?
Our AI group is far from done, so
Yeah.
we know the AI group will be looking at it. I'm sure the tech integrators will be looking at it as well. It is like Matt called it the flavor of the month, but it's absolutely critical that we keep eyes all over this. It's just absolutely critical. It's just as important as if you hand a child a cell phone and you just gotta stay on top of that, what they're using, what apps are on there. It's incumbent on us to keep eyes on this.
So how large is this AI group?
It's in the, I don't know, there were about 35 people on that group.
Okay, so they're all responsible or accountable for reviewing?
It's redundant,
and-
yes.
Yeah.
We have teachers, we have the tech team.
So, and how do you assure that there's consistency between teachers who may have different levels of competency?
Tech integration specialists, they're in every school, they're at every level, and they meet frequently. So among their network, they are expert at sharing information, monitoring. If one sees something go wrong, they share it with the rest. Matt, you can speak to that more because he's a tech integration specialist.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that just won't get it and want to make sure that the kids are not, some kids in some classes are not getting the same training as other.
The staff will be aware, as soon as the board swallows those guidelines a little bit, digests it, that's when it's going to be rolled out to staff formally and say, these are your guidelines, and this is what you need to adhere to. Now, is everyone going to adhere to it 24/7 around the clock? Is anyone even going to read them? Well, you know what, that depends on how well you want to handle your students. It's going to be incumbent again on the teachers and the principals to make sure that staff understands it. So the tech integrators are going to be probably, I'm guessing that, I'm not going to speak for them, but I would imagine I'm going to a staff meeting at Holland Elementary to share just the guidelines, not the Magic School part, but just the guidelines, just to put in staff, the head of teachers, that please do not venture into this territory unfettered. It's dangerous for you, it's dangerous for your students. So, and if you do, use Magic School.
Thank you.
Anybody else before
I could go
Okay.
again, but I just want to make sure everybody's had a chance to talk before I optimize more time.
go for it? I'll go after you.
Okay. I've got a couple questions. I could email her some of them, but one that I've been thinking about in the course of this conversation is what prevents the students from learning the AI skills in Council Rock and then using a non-Council Rock computer outside of Council Rock hours to now have the knowledge to approach another AI, which is not connected to this, and start utilizing it.
Nothing.
Like, if I'm right.
Absolutely nothing, but there's nothing right now. There's nothing preventing one of your children
I know.
to go, with what they do outside of school, we can't govern, not with AI. There's no way we're going to put that course back in the form.
Right.
It's done.
So with that being said, that understood, is Magic School able to identify if a student did that and then submitted it? So for example, I'm in Magic School, I'm Mikey, and I'm in 4th grade or something like that, and I'm doing an assignment. I find out that Magic School won't do it for me, so I go home and I get on Dad's computer and I go to whatever AI and I have it come up and then I submit it, and then can my teacher use Magic School to determine whether I just did what I did?
Yeah, so we do not have any AI detection built into the platform. There's 2 reasons for that. One, AI detection software, as of right now, is notoriously inaccurate in both directions. So it frequently detects authentic work as AI generated and AI generated work as authentic. As a company of former educators, we firmly believe that potential to incorrectly detect whether something is AI generated can damage student-teacher relationships, right? If we're having that conversation when they truly did write something and the teacher is saying, hey, that's AI detected. Because that technology is not reliable, it is not employed in our platform, we lean more heavily on the AI literacy piece of it. That being said, kids are kids, and to your point, a student absolutely could do that. They could use a different AI platform, but what I will share is an anecdote from another district that I'm supporting in Pennsylvania. They had, before they were partners, they had a teacher who was using Magic Student with her 7th graders seventh grade ELA teacher, and she was the only person on her team using Magic Student. And she had her students use the writing feedback tool to support their writing process. And she had no issues all last year with students turning in AI generated work. Her colleagues did not kind of broach AI with their students, did not use Magic Student last school year, and were perpetually dealing with ChatGPT generated essays. And, while correlation does not equal causation, I do think it is an interesting kind of micro case study of when we give students the tools that they are clearly eager and interested to utilize, and when we teach them the appropriate way to use it. Many of them do gravitate towards Magic Student because that's what they know how to use. They feel confident utilizing it. It feels useful in their work. But students do find ways around things, and especially if it's not when they're in school and it's when they're at home. But that's no different than a student going to Google and trying to pull, an essay from essays.com, which I got many of in my days in the classroom. So yes, I'm not invalidating the concern. It is still absolutely a possibility. I hope you can understand kind of the rationale around why we don't have AI detection built into the platform. If that technology becomes more reliable, that's not to say down the line it won't be incorporated one day. But right now, it's not something that we have in the platform.
And that's one of my concerns. Are we teaching kids to have a higher literacy in something that can't be detected, can't be restrained in this aspect? That's one of my concerns. The other one, and I'll just leave it at this, anything else I'll email, but I'm interested to know what was the answer of where does the data live?
The data.
Yes. Oh, you want to answer it, Andrea?
I told you that question would come. Go ahead.
Yes. So it does live in the US. It's hosted on an AWS server, and it is owned by the district, if that is a follow-up question of who owns the data. So it is hosted in the US. It is encrypted both in transit and at rest, and it is owned by the district no matter what. And, in terms of data deletion, it can be deleted upon request, and if and when the partnership were to end or were to terminate, it is deleted within 60 days or sooner upon request.
How often is it scrubbed?
I don't have exact timelines for the PII scrubbing, but I do know it happens regularly.
Mr. Rapp.
I just want to, just as part of the, we just talking about the using other AIs to write papers, and it doesn't take much for the kids to figure out that could happen. At least with the plan that we're trying to put in place is we're saying to them, here's AI, here's responsible use of AI. So we're trying to, we're at least trying to get ahead of it that way. I know that it's already a problem in areas, but we're at least trying to do responsible training or responsible education for the kids so that they know, what they should be doing. And I know that's definitely a problem, and we don't want to make them better cheaters, but I think our option is do nothing and they're still going to do it, or try to at least get ahead of it by training them.
The greater risk is not educating kids how to use it. Rather than being afraid of what they're going to do with it, the minority, the greater risk is raising a generation in this school district of students who are not prepared to enter the workforce because they've never really interacted with it or have any clue on what it means to be a digital citizen with respect to AI. That would be a crime, I think. So that's one reason why we wanted to put this in place as soon as we could.
I think it speaks to the learning aspect that you were targeting, is that the idea is it should be teaching the kids to help themselves without doing it for them. And clearly the tools that Haley's talking about went towards that, right? As Tony said, if kids want to go around the entire system, they will. Hopefully we're providing an environment for them that shows them it isn't that difficult, and here's some guide rails, and we're going to nudge you in the right way. I think that was, one of the things that Haley said specifically. So, if we can help the children do it the right way and make it enjoyable and easy, accessible, maybe we get there to what you're talking about, providing an actual learning environment.
All right, I have some questions. I guess, thank you, Haley. I love to hear when Mrs. Mangold said we're far ahead of other districts and we're doing this because we see a need for it, not because it's coming from the state as a mandate, not because other districts are doing it, but because we see a need for it for our students. And I think that's terrific. I love to hear that. So thank you for recognizing the need. I have several questions. You mentioned parameters that can be set by the district around what is accessible for the students. And so my question is, are those set, at what level are they set and how customizable are they? Are they customizable by the grade level or by the teacher or just by the district as a whole?
Yeah, so in terms of Magic Student deployment, if let's say the district wanted to do kind of a phased rollout, like starting it at the high school, middle, then elementary school, you can turn off on or off Magic Student for select grade levels, select teachers, depending, on how you all want to strategize rolling this out to students. In terms of parameters, right now it is set as like turning on or off tools. So if, once the district reviews what of the 50 tools that are available to provide to students, if there are specific tools that we're just like, absolutely not, we don't want students ever using those, you can turn those off directly and they will not be available to be assigned to students. If the other way that I've seen this used really strategically is actually just kind of starting with maybe a handful of tools, like 5 to 10 that the district has decided are really high leverage and accessible. I know previously folks mentioned like there's a variety of experience and comfort levels across teachers within the district. And so we want to make sure we're not leaving anyone behind here and that there's equitable experiences across classrooms. So that moderation capability helps in that you can select maybe 5 tools that feel, like a good starting point for any educator, start there so that everyone kind of has that easy entry point and then do a gradual release of rolling out additional tools. Right now, I don't believe that the individual tool moderation can be done at like the grade level or on the individual level. I will have to double check on that. I don't think that's the capability. It's kind of all or nothing. You turn it on or off. And then within each tool, when teachers actually assign them to students, all of the tools are customizable. So the teacher is selecting the grade level. The teacher is providing instructions for how they want the tool to function. Let's say, for the writing feedback tool, for example, they're uploading the PSSA rubrics so that the feedback they get on their TDA is aligned to, how they're being scored on the PSSAs. They're uploading the prompt in, they're uploading the learning objective so that they can get insights around how students are performing towards that learning objective. And so when teachers actually assign the tools, they are setting the parameters as well to ensure that instructional alignment.
Okay, thank you. The next question, I apologize, I have a few questions. The next question is, we talked a lot about professional development and some that is being included, but it all sounded, maybe this is a question for our education committee meeting, so if it is, I can wait. But it sounded like they're all optional. Is the idea that this is that the professional development provided by Magic School is going to be optional? Because it sounds like also the resources provided by the tech integration team are optional. Like the teacher has to contact tech integration and say, hey, I wonder about this. There's no mandate, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you need to watch this PowerPoint to understand how Magic School works, or else you don't get to use it as an educator.
No.
At this point, that's further down the road. Our professional development days are already spoken for.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other ways to incorporate that. For example, some of the PD that we heard about tonight, there are short snippets. We can use faculty meeting time for that. But we really need to get in front of Ann and Jamie and Tammy, professional development part of it.
And I'll say that a lot of this is done by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You get 1 or 2 teachers that you worked with. I worked with a teacher today who, to Mr. Urban's point that he made about a student who is in a level that they may need some assistance with the text. I work with a teacher today who has a couple different students at different reading levels in that classroom, and I was able to use Magic School to have them rewrite the text to fit each one of their levels like that. It did it all, and then translated it into 3 other languages for the student right there in that classroom. So once that teacher saw that and those eyes lit up and it exported directly to Google Docs for them, within minutes, I know that's going to spread as word of mouth going, I want to use that, I want to use it, what else can this do?
Okay, my next question is, I saw in one of your usage slides, the graph, generations. What is that? Is that how old the teacher is that's using it? Is that what
No, that's a really good clarifying question. A generation refers to any time like a resource is created. So if I go into the lesson plan tool and say, my objective is that students will be able to divide fractions, and it creates me a lesson plan for dividing fractions with the various activities, that would be one generation. If from there I said, okay, now create me a homework assignment that I can assign to students following this lesson so that they can continue practicing, and I can, measure their independent application of this, that would be another generation. So you can think of a generation as like in the conversation, anytime the tool creates something or responds.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Right, that's another.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that.
Another version of the word generate that I hadn't. I was focused on generations rather than generate. Okay, and then I guess some other questions. Obviously, AI came on fast and furious here. So how long has your company been around? How many school districts are you working with in how many states? What is like the retention of different school districts?
Yes, all good questions. So we've been around for around 2.5 years. Our founder is a former principal and educator himself, and when he left the classroom, he started Magic School, and we've grown from there with many educators. In terms of school and district partnerships, I believe the number currently is over 13,000, and that is all across the country, as well as multiple international partners as well in various other countries. Within Pennsylvania specifically, I believe we have I think we're at over 75 enterprise partnerships across the state right now. So those are folks who have purchased Magic School. We also have a ton of free usage, over 80,000 educators utilizing the platform across the state. But in terms of partnerships, like what we're talking about for Council Rock, we're at just about over 75.
Thank you. Okay, that's all my questions, I think. Anybody else? Ms. Khan?
Sorry,
That's okay.
I know Ms. Haley just talked about the free, so someone might think, hey, we could be using this for free, and just so kind of the pros and cons of why our district is not considering the free version versus the paid version.
We have the free version right now. We're testing.
We're piloting.
A pilot of the paid version.
That's the free, right?
But we're not paying for it, correct?
There's a free version, like just
But
free
there's a free-
anyone.
You could sign on right now and.
I think they.
What's the difference, Haley, between the free?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So in terms of the free version, the experience for educators is much more limited. We were just talking about generations. What that means is when they go into a tool, they can actually only create one resource before they have to move to a new tool or start over completely, as opposed to being able to have a conversation within a tool. So part of AI literacy, what we encourage for both educators and students, is what we call the 80-20 approach. AI can get you about 80% of the way there, but educators still bring invaluable context about their content and about their students that AI is never going to be able to replace. And so it's on the educator to do that remaining 20% of the work. I would say it is much harder to take the 80-20% approach when you can only create that first resource and you don't have the ability to say, hey, actually, I need you to accommodate this for multilingual learners, or I need you to include a class discussion in this, and then you can kind of iterate upon what you've been given. So currently, the educators are technically using the paid version. They are just part of a free pilot. So you have free access to the paid version. If educators were using just the free version, they would be much more limited in their capabilities within the platform. I would say more importantly, the reason districts move to an enterprise partnership is actually because of the administrative oversight and capabilities. So that's having access to the data. That's actually why we moved to the free enterprise pilot was so that your administrators could have access and insight into like, how are teachers using this? How can we drill down into who's using it and support folks? The additional administrative capabilities are those customizations, the tool moderations. In the free version, admin has no insight or oversight over staff or student usage. And then on the student side of the platform, there's no LMS integration, so you wouldn't be able to integrate with Canvas or have your single sign-on, so that students' work lives in one place versus signing in an unattached account. So that level of integration isn't there. Folks that use the free version, ultimately what happens is it's very scattered usage happening in pockets, in silos. It sounds like where you all are headed is in the direction of like streamlined implementation across the district. You have these guidelines, you have these guiding principles. So you need something that is going to allow you to implement those guidelines, have that level of oversight and have that level of consistency and the ability to adapt, as the technology changes and shifts.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Hickey? Oh, anybody else? Thank you for spending so much time with us.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Haley.
All right. Well, I really do mean it when I say feel free to email me. Andrea has my email address as well if you didn't get the chance to grab it, but I appreciate your time and hope that everyone has a great rest of their evening.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, Magic School. So the next item on the agenda, before we move on to that, I want to say I didn't do this at the beginning of the meeting, and I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Joe Terreri, our Al Oberman, and Andrea for being here tonight to discuss this Magic School AI and also a couple of these upcoming special services contracts. So Trey's Way Sensory Room Consultant Contract. So last month, if you recall, we approved bids for products for sensory rooms. This is a contract with a consultant who will help us design and choose equipment for our sensory rooms for autistic support and life skills students. We're planning to put one in at Richboro Elementary School and another at Soul Finestone Elementary School. We already have sensory equipment in those schools for the students, but we want to have these rooms put in. The cost is $13,500 total, and we'll be purchasing the equipment and any needed installation. So we're looking to have you approve this contract. It's $13,500 consulting contract, and that's for the total cost of the package.
Have you used them before?
I have not used Trey's Way Consulting before.
How did you find them?
They're I met with them. They work with they have children with a child with the same needs, and are very vested in making sure that these rooms are provided and right for the students. So they put together a consulting business to help schools put together these types of areas, rooms for students. So we've been in contact with them through this. Their child is in our district, so they have a student in the district.
And then, I'm sorry.
If you don't mind. So if you go back to last year, I don't remember what meeting it was, Kyle Cantor was here. We talked about working with some consultants and going out and visiting some locations. And that's how I was introduced to them outside of their role as a parent. The way that they had set up, it was more than a sensory room. And then that evolved into discussion about our expansion of the autistic support program at Richboro and Soul Finestone. And we wanted to look at all of our schools that have kids with those kind of needs. We have the equipment. We're trying to get consistency across the elementary schools with regard to these sensory rooms. So that's kind of where it was born. And then Tony has met with them, Al has been involved, and that's what brought us here tonight to talk with you.
And with our 64 population growing, at least seemingly seems to be growing, this just provides a good space in both buildings to allow for that, you know, if the population continues to grow, gives them that good space to use for, you know, whatever sensory needs they might have.
So there'll be different equipment than what we approved, what we just, no, it won't be.
So you approved our ability to purchase that equipment.
Right, okay,
We're-
so it is,
so we
that,
got-
what you're saying,
We went out to bid for a long list of possible equipment that we would use. We're not gonna buy everything that's on that list.
Okay.
They're working with the consultants, and Kyle and Al are working with the consultants to figure out exactly what we want in the rooms. And then we'll go to the vendors and we'll purchase the equipment based on the lowest bid, and then we'll have the rooms, the equipment, and put in the rooms.
Our partnership with them is kind of, they're helping us kind of build the best space and kind of decide what equipment would be best for the space that we want to utilize.
Ms. Khan?
I think that's clarifying how I'm hearing it. Is they're kind of like the designers consulting the district to then figure out what furniture and pieces and equipment you want to fill that
Correct.
space with, like how someone might hire an interior designer for a home, right? They're kind of, that's their specialty or niche, it
Correct.
seems, that kind of best suits. And you guys have looked at others, and this is the one, okay. Thank you.
Other questions? I had a question, just, you mentioned that it sounds like these are Castle Rock parents. Have they done this sort of thing in our district or in other districts?
Not in Council Rock, I can't answer other districts. I know they do a lot of work for families with children who have those needs, but we have not used them before.
Mr. Roosevelt?
Thank you. I have an estimate for the cost for the equipment and the installation. I understand this 13.5, that's just for the design and the consulting. What's the other half of this? Well, it's not a half, but you know what I mean.
We're looking at what the equipment is. I don't have a number. I know where we're, you know, trying to keep it.
I'm going through the list now with Dr. Cantor to kind of, I won't give you an estimate because I really don't know, because we're still trying to figure out what would fit best in that room.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I like this idea. I'm supportive of it. I like multi-sensory connections. I think that especially the presentation that was included on the agenda was a nice before-after. And oftentimes classrooms can look stark. It is nice when over the course of the year, students and teachers add stuff onto the walls. So this is nice. Of course, my personal feeling is that outside is a great way to get sensory exposure, but I understand that that's not always applicable. For a student, regardless of what their educational needs and situation is, understanding how they fit in the world and understanding how they connect to that world is really important for their development. And I think this is great because you can't always go outside. I get it, so.
Can I just go back to your question about how much? So it's just like when we do a bid list at the beginning of the year and we go out and we get a quote for number 2 pencils and pink erasers and Elmer's glue. We don't pick everything on that list, and we're right now just at that menu of things, and that's where Al and Kyle will come in with teachers and some others to make sure we're optimizing that, because we know we can't, A, fit everything in the space that we have on that list, or B, buy everything that's on that list to be in that space.
No, it makes perfect sense, and that helps me to understand where you are in this process. And I'm assuming that part of this consulting and part of this determining what you can fit is also going to be custom tailored towards some of the students that would be utilizing it.
Correct. I would say there's a variety to meet any sensory need of any student. And that's kind of, if you look at the design of the room, they have different zones for, audio, sensory, tactile. So it's built for whatever the student might need.
That's great. Is the plan eventually, thinking about parity, to have one of these in all elementary schools, and we're just starting with these two and testing it out?
We have in our schools where we have autistic support programs, we have rooms, we have spaces, but they are not complete what we're trying to accomplish here. So that, again, I use the word consistency, so that when we have children in the schools with different needs, like Al just talked about, that we have consistency. And one of the challenges, the space isn't always consistent. So it's kind of working around those hurdles as well.
Other questions? Okay.
Yeah, it's late now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I moved on. Good.
The last item on the agenda is to renew our contract with Brett Denovi and Associates. This is our contract for a behavioral educational consultation. The fee is $55 per hour, which is the same as it was last year. During that year, we spent $51,046.25 with this vendor.
Council Rock has used, from what I can tell, for the past 2 years. So it's, let's say, a staffing service. So this is not something that's consistently used all year. As students need, might have students that, for whatever reason, their needs increase suddenly, or they have behavior issues. So what these people specialize in is bringing people in who are trained one-to-one, who can help de-escalate students, come up with behavior plans. It's meant to be a short-term intervention, 2 weeks, possibly a month. Sometimes we have students who are awaiting placements that, again, we're just trying to manage students, keep them safe, keep other students safe. So we might consult with them to come in and kind of give that additional behavior support for our students.
I think the other thing to add to this is that much like we have a JAG 1, I would equate that to like a substitute athletic trainer pool of people, use them when we need them and pay them when we use them. There's a sense of immediacy with this. So if something, a need arises with a student, we don't have to go through an interview process. We don't have to go through a job posting process. We could bring, with your approval, we could bring these people in to help the kids immediately, as Al said, for that short term. So it's there if we need it, and we don't pay if we don't use it.
Other questions? Ms. Horner, did you have a question? Somebody down there had their hand up, I thought. No? Okay. Mr. Roosevelt?
Briefly, since we did use it last year, I remember this presentation last year. We used about $51,000 toward this organ. Can anybody provide a little evaluation about how that worked? And
Well, I was only here for part of the year. I can tell you I've used, they're used by many districts in Bucks County, and I used them a lot in my previous district. And I will tell you, just from my experience, I've never had any issues with them. Any types of needs a student might have, regardless of the severity of it, they've been able to come in and really keep that student in school, keep him safe, or him or her safe, and really kind of work with that student. So my own experience with them is they really train their staff, and they really put a lot of priority in the training of who they send us.
Okay.
Upcoming agenda items, the only thing I have on the list right now is the 24-25 unaudited results. We're pretty much getting through the last of our adjustments for the fiscal year. We have, I think we're waiting on maybe one charter school. We have most of our accruals in. And one thing I'll say is, if you look at last year's unaudited results presentation and compare it to what was on that financial statement, they're very close. We don't have audit adjustments. Cheryl does a lot of this work, and Cheryl Ivanich in the business office does a lot of this work. She does a great job with it. Just something that, is a point of pride for the business office, how good our unaudited results turn out. So that's all I have for the.
Thank you to you and your staff, because that is, we don't have adjustments to make, to keep coming back, yeah.
As a former auditor, that's very impressive.
Right.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna close out and then come back and, oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any comments? This is for finance. Okay. Okay.
Numbers look good.
Okay. So are we gonna leave and we're gonna come back to facilities in just a moment? Thank you.